move forward, that could be, that could be different things. And we don't, at this point, we don't know exactly what move forward looks like, until we get through the state process. But we would at least be able to entertain proposals from, people who are interested in redeveloping the Civic. We could do an RFP, go out and ask for proposals. But that all really remains to be seen. The real, the important step, the main step we have to get through now is we have to get state clearance from HCD, and that's what we're working on. So that kind of brings us up to date in terms of where the city is with this. And I can turn it back over to you, Sean, or I don't know if you want questions at this point or how you want to handle it.
Thank you. Unless you have to go immediately, I'd like to have Carrie and others speak first.
No, I'll hang on.
Great. So I'd like to hand the floor over to Carrie Upton from Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District to give their perspective.
Okay, hello, I am the Chief Operations Officer, and I'm also joined by one of the board members, Jim Smith. I can, okay.
You can sit there.
Okay, I'll move my chair. Oh, wait, we're doing a Johnny Carson thing.
Sure.
I get to sit by you, but I can travel down the way as we go.
Indeed.
Yes, okay. All right, I have 5 minutes. I often do this in 20 minutes, so I'm going to hit the high points first. The school district has developed a plan for rehabilitating and adaptively reusing the Civic Auditorium that would be really great for students and also great for the community. So it is driven initially by our need to have an additional space for competition for gymnasium, a competition gymnasium space. And some people might immediately think Civic Auditorium, a gym space, that's wrong. But if you look back at actually how it was built and how it was originally used, it was always built as a multi-use space, that it could do a lot of different things. And it had tennis, it had boxing, it had wrestling, along with all of the shows, the concerts, all of the events that people remember, along with exhibitions, cat shows, galas, the Oscars. It did all of these things, and it could return to being that once again. Why it's a benefit for the school district is, as you might know, we're working our way through the Samuel High campus plan, rebuilding the campus for students for the 21st century. Our campus is 26 acres for the number of students we have. It really needs to be 52 acres. So squeezing everything together, after we finish this next phase, we're working on phase 3 right now, which is the exploration building and the Gold Gymnasium. They're set to open in August of 24. We have another phase where we need to work on the library, the student center, the admin area, the theater. All of those are coming up in phase 4. But after that, we have to rearrange a number of the things on campus. And if we had the opportunity of using the Civic and moving some things, sort of changing and adapting it, but still being respectful of its original space and use, then it means that we are able to take out a number of steps. Like our music building, which we redid in the 90s, we only need to move it because it's in the wrong place to fit everything on campus. So we could build another gymnasium to put tennis courts on top, which is not really a great place to put tennis courts. But those are all the things we have to do on a small campus to make it work. So that's where we would look at using the Civic Auditorium. We'd use it for about 80 days committed for sports events. Other days could be used for practices. We'd be able to rent it out for 100 to 110 days, whether we did that ourselves or we work through an outside operator. We would be able to have all of the types of events that we've spoken of and that can happen in that space. We are planned to adaptively use it. We would remove the 2 wings, which are the most seismically challenging spaces, and build things like a wrestling room around that, fitness spaces, locker rooms around the edge, but that would keep the main building as it is. We have worked with historic architects, and we also had a number of meetings with the Santa Monica Civic to make sure that we are retaining and being responsible to the landmark elements of it and all the primary elements. From the spires to the brise soleil to the lobby, all the way into the auditorium space. The one space that is challenging, and this is also was a challenge when they looked at it 10 years ago, is the movable audience floor. There's like 1 of 3 other constructed. It's the large floor. The audience is actually able to tilt on an angle for concerts and performances or be flat for exhibitions. Seismically, that no longer works because they don't really allow a large piece of something in the middle of a building that could go this way while the building's going that way. So it would need to be fixed in place. It could be recovered and reused down the road if we ever figure out the technology to make that part of it work. But everything else would be able to be retained. And we would be able to move that forward. I'm coming to the end of my 5 minutes. The big challenge is the cost. We've done a very extensive feasibility study, and if you look at our district website, under our facility improvement office, you can see Civic Auditorium on one of the drop downs over there, and it gives you lots of details. You can read our 500-something page feasibility study that goes in great detail on all the pieces of it. You can also look at the presentation that we did for the Board of Education in August that shows you all the pictures and everything, sort of gives you an idea of what it is. We estimate that pretty much anyone who comes in to use the Civic in any way, they're going to spend at least around $100 million in construction costs to bring it up to what it needs to be. And that's to bring it up to code. For the district to use it and bring it up to appropriate Field Act code, and also to replace some of the things on the sides and build those, we're looking at somewhere close to $130 million. With that's hard cost, construction costs. With soft costs, of the other things that, paying architects, all the entitlements, which are extensive, and a pretty big amount for, there's a great word for this, it's lost me in my head, if we're not things we don't know, and things we will find in construction. Contingencies, thank you. I'm showing my age because sometimes words wander away from me. We would estimate it would be about $225 million. And we would be going to the voters to approve that nationwide. So we would ask the voters to pay for that. But it would be a great benefit, and it would save about 10 years out of the Samuel High campus plan, being able to complete that sometime around 2031, 32, and it would save probably 100, almost more off of the Samuel High campus plan over time for the voters. So it actually is a savings. Sounds like it isn't, but it is actually a savings.
Thank you.
That said, I will tell you where we are now. We have completed everything we need to up to this point, including these meetings, which I've been doing. I've been going to a lot of them. We are at a place where we can pause. One of the things we've heard from other groups is that there might be somebody else who has a better plan. And we're open to that. So we have communicated to the city that we will step back. We will not make a formal proposal at this time. We don't want to get in the way of the Surplus Land Act. So if somebody else has a great idea, now is a great time to put that out. But the district is still interested. And later next year, if there's not something, then we still are very excited about saving the Civic and bringing it back and allowing our students to have the public use of that space and allow the community once again to return. Thank you.
Thank you for the time. You can stay or move over.
I'll put it down the sofa.
Jesus Hernandez, are you on the line from Community Corps? I know he was hoping to join. He may not be able to, or he may be late because I believe they have their board meeting right now as well.
No, it's been put off till next week, the board meeting.
Okay. All I know is he's not here. He was hoping to be, and or Tara was hoping to be. So so that'll be awesome. Thank you. So let's be nimble and hand the floor over to B. Nimlala and Lori Nasham to talk about their efforts with SaveTheCivic.org.
Hi, everyone.
And by the way, if you're outside and you want to come inside, there's about half a dozen seats on the right here that are available. Okay. The floor is yours.
Who's going to start? So hi all.
Yeah, nice to be live. I'm Bee Namlaha from
Save the Civic, and this is Lori in action, who many of you know from Save the Civic. First, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. We are much grateful. Save the Civic has a vision for the Civic Auditorium, which is different than what the school district envisions. Our vision is to recreate the Civic as the performing arts center that it was originally intended and built to be. It is true that it has had some multipurpose functions over the years, but I don't think that it had the multipurpose functions of sports that people appreciate or believe today. It was the Academy Awards, it was jazz, it was folk, it was blues, it was rock and roll. It was primarily and almost always a performing arts center. Save the Civic really believes deeply that the performing arts and art are an important cultural contribution to a community. And it's what helps build a community. It's what helps unite a community. And so it is our mission and our vision to restore the building as primarily a performing arts center with world-class acoustics, world-class lighting, everything you would need to bring first-tier artists back to the city. We don't believe that a gym would be able to bring first-tier artists back to the city. And the value of first-tier artists, aside from the cultural boost they give our community, is that they will generate a continuing forward revenue stream for the city, which unfortunately a gym cannot do. And that revenue stream will come from ticket sales. It will come from, we believe, the growth of the hospitality industry, restaurants, commercial hotels, and that will provide additional revenue to the city. The school district bond, which we understand would probably be floated in 2026, wouldn't cost only $225 million. Over the 30 years of interest payments, it would cost more like $425 million. And residents and voters rightly ask, why should we pay again for something we already own? We raised money in 1958 to build it. We own it. Why should we be asked to pay again? So our position and our vision is, let's get it back to being a performing arts center with the capability for conventions, cat shows, even, for example, allowing competition events that the school district hosts for certain of its sports to happen in final form, but that wouldn't be its primary purpose. That would be secondary. I think the other thing that's important to appreciate is if the school district floats a $250 million bond, it will be in 2026. By the time the bonds are sold, it will be 2027. By the time we understand the building would be rehabbed and up and running, the school district projects 2030, 2031. That's far in advance of what we are hoping could be accomplished, and that is making the Civic available for the Olympic Arts Festival, which is part of the Olympics in 2028. We believe we have identified a credible, experienced, capable team that includes a rehab construction company and a performing arts operator. And the two of them, as a team, we believe can get the Civic up and running much more quickly and can get revenue flowing to the city much more quickly. So that's our vision. And Lori, you wanted to say some more
Yeah,
things.
well, yeah, just wanted to add, well, first of all, hello, everyone, and I see a lot of, I don't know if you know me, but I'm an original OPA board member, and I see quite a few of original board members here tonight, so it's good to see everyone, and my kids went to, I just wanted to make sure this wasn't like a school district bash tonight, because I just want to go on record and say that my kids went through the school district, my kids went to Smash, my son went to Samuel High, I'm an orchestra parent, I give to sex every year, I was on a district advisory council, I still volunteer at Stairway Up to the Stars, so I just want you to know that this is not, this is not against the school district, I just don't see how the school district is a good steward for this gem of a structure that we have, which is the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. And for me, it's very emotional because I used to drive from the San Fernando Valley and come see the Eagles, and I saw Dan Fogelberg for the first time there. I think he broke my heart when I sat there and watched him on the stage the first time. And I just think that the reason why the Civic has not succeeded as a business is because the city has never taken the time to hire professional people who know how to run a venue. You know, they always hire somebody who, you know, perhaps is booking the Miles Playhouse at the same time or something like that. And it's, you know, you really need someone who knows how to do this for it to be a successful structure. And I wanted to also say that.
I just need you to wrap up.
Okay,
You're at 7 minutes.
Okay. I was just, and the other thing I was just gonna bring up was I was here at the August meeting, and Ruth Andler from the Santa Monica Conservancy did a riveting presentation about the history of the Civic. But the one thing that wasn't addressed was what happens if the district buys the Civic and it turns out to be a failure, can they demolish it? And we don't, I mean, legally, can they demolish it? Not, do they want to, you know, but can they do it? And it's my belief that they can, that they don't have to adhere to Santa Monica zoning laws, and if push comes to shove, they can demolish the structure, and that is painful for me to think about, so that's it, thank you.
Thank you both. Jesus Hernandez from Community Corps has joined. I think he was tied up with something. I'm gonna, you can just unmute yourself, Jesus, and I'm gonna hand the floor over to you to give Community Corps' perspective.
Hi, everyone. This is Jesus Hernandez with Community Corporation of Santa Monica. I am the housing director for the nonprofit. We submitted a proposal to develop the site along with a partner that would be responsible for all the improvement necessary for the Civic Center. For us, the affordable housing piece is obviously important for us. Our long-standing history in Santa Monica and delivering quality, long-term affordable housing is what we do here at Community Corp. And obviously the site is of value for various reasons. And we thought we would have been a great partner with the city. Sorry, that's my 15-month-old saying hi. We were disappointed that the city went in a different direction. We were prepared to provide payment to the city with our partner, $20 million land payment that would be paid in part by Community Corp through resourcing various public and private dollars for the affordable housing piece. The partner would also make a sizable payment in that amount, and would also make all the improvements for retrofitting the Civic Center back to a place that folks could come back and use as a live entertainment center. And I'm here to answer any questions regarding that. I understand, you know, it's been, you know, in a bit of a limbo. But we would still be willing to look at it a bit closer with the city to see if we can make something happen to bring needed affordable housing to this space.
Great, thank you for sharing that perspective. Before I open the floor up to Q&A, I did want to go back to David Martin, the city, to see if everything you've just heard, if there's any sort of follow-up items from the city's perspective that you had, either on like the unlandmarking process or anything else that anybody else brought up.
No, Sean, that everything that that I heard from Jesus, from Carrie, and of course from B, that all sounded accurate. In terms of landmarking, there is a question about if the property was owned outright by the school district, whether or not they would have to abide by the city's landmark designation and requirements. That's, I think, a little bit up in the air still. But I know that in discussions with the school district, there was discussion about the school district being willing to commit to abiding by the city's landmark ordinance, even if it wasn't technically required. So I think that would be part of any negotiation going forward. But again, we haven't, we're not at the point where those kind of things have been figured out quite yet.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna open the floor to questions and any discussion. As I mentioned in the newsletter, we are gonna give preference, especially if we're running short on time, to board members and OPA members. But with that, I will open up the floor. You have your hand up.
Yeah, hi, B and Lori. You mentioned that you had already in mind a contractor, a promoter. I'd like to hear a lot more about who you were talking to.
So, well, we get that question a lot.
Yeah,
We do.
pretty important question, yeah.
We do. So we call it a suitor because it's a partnership entity. And because of the city's commitment and requirement to the Surplus Lands Act, they have not been at liberty to come forward because it was the understanding of us and the city, I believe, and also this group, that the city has to engage in honest good faith negotiations with the kinds of entities that are called out in the Surplus Land Act: housing, education, recreation. And until that process is complete and the state says, okay, you've done it, you're finished, you've done it in good faith, now you're free to go forward with anybody who might be interested. This group has felt, and we have honored them, that they don't think that it's appropriate for them to come forward, but they will as soon as the state signs off.
Yeah, it puts you in a tough position to sell your project. 'Cause
Yes, it does.
it's minus lots of important information, yeah.
But there should be more than one suitor,
Yeah,
based on the property and,
yeah,
but that is, would be the only 3,000 seat venue on the west side.
yeah.
And you could make a lot of bank for the city and for.
Well, all that, I agree.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that,
I support your idea. I hope
Yeah.
it's all for real.
Yeah.
But I remember when Nina was doing it and he was on the board and they had a few things and I forgot what happened. They fell through or something, right?
I can tell you if you want to know.
Great, there's been a number of hands up and I'm gonna go in the order that I saw them.
Hi, I'm wondering if you mentioned anything about the cost of all this that you presented.
I'm sorry, could you?
Cost estimates.
who are you asking?
You,
Us?
anyone who knows, yes,
Well,
either one of the two women.
Oh, okay, well, we are not, engaged with negotiations with the city. We are representing a group of residents who would like to see the civic remain, or once again become an arts and cultural center. So we would not be in position to know what the exact costs are. It would be the people who would actually like to acquire the civic and run it, right? But I believe the number that Carrie came up with is fairly accurate, which is what?
About 100 million in construction at the low end, depending on how it wants to be used.
Yeah.
And anywhere from 175 to 225 if you're, if your total cost.
Thank you.
And then that's without a high-end sound system, right?
No, that's with a high-end recorded sound system, but making that space into a great acoustic space and an amplified space is gonna be difficult. Multi-use means you have to make some cuts in some some places and some places it.
Right, and I think that's where we differ, is that we think that it needs to be a world-class music venue.
There's a world class, and being able to do acoustic and recorded sound are two separate discussions.
Well,
No, they aren't,
Okay.
because of the type of venue it is.
All right,
I
Aaron,
disagree, but go ahead.
Aaron is next, followed by John, followed by Jerry.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Put my hand down. It's not a question. I just like feel like as one of the, I don't know, like a 30-something-year-old, I moved to Santa Monica and all my friends were like, that's a weird choice for you. And everything that brings like art and culture and kind of different kinds of people here is really exciting to me. So I think you're in a big part of this. Really exciting. That's not a question.
Okay, thank you. John.
So I'm a little curious about where you're going to find $130 million to put that building together before a single act shows up in the show. So far, I haven't really heard a single word about how that's going to happen. But most importantly, is to think about the alternative to a dilapidated building in our neighborhood. Since 2011, roughly 7,500 seniors have graduated from San Juan Hospital. All of them would like to live in this community, but there is no housing. There are great alternatives to that venue. We all like the idea of art. You could put it at the airport. So why are you fighting for that building? Mostly what I hear is talk about memories, not the structure. Instead of, are you laughing at me?
Please
No,
do
we're
it.
discussing who's going to answer your question, so, yeah.
We're not.
Go ahead, answer.
The Santa Monica Civic Auditorium is, as I think everybody knows, and it has been mentioned, not only a Santa Monica landmark, but it's an example of a particular architectural style from the mid-20th century. It was bold.
Is the whole building landmark or just pieces of it?
Most of the
He talked about the
Do
components.
you want her to answer your question?
John, let them speak.
the exterior of the building and most of its exterior features and many of its interior features are landmarked. And in fact, probably the best person to answer your question in great detail would be Nina Fresco. But before you do that, Nina, it's not just any old building. It's a very special building. The architects who built that building were responsible for the Dorothy Chandler, for the Mark Taper, for the LAX theme building, for the Capitol Records building. There are for many, many people there is a belief for many people that Santa Monica needs to stand on its credentials. And one of its credentials is this incredible building. And if you were to just tear it down so you could build housing, you'd wipe out history, you'd wipe out Santa Monica's place in history. And there are many, many people that feel that that's a worthwhile trade-off.
It's part of the Belmar Triangle.
It is.
What about that history?
There are ways that we believe that the revenue stream that will be generated from a performing arts building can be tapped for a fund to address the Belmar history. Specifically how, it's too early to say. But it could just thinking it could take the form of a building for nonprofit startups. It could take the form of reparations for families. It could take the form of a fund for research. It could take the form of a museum. It could take the form of all of this. Imagine, for example, a small fee on every ticket sold for the civic, every performance tiny fee, like, you know, when you go to a restaurant and you have to pay 3% or something for the health insurance, similar concept. And it would go into a fund that's specifically designated to address that terrible history. That's something that if you build a performing arts center that has a revenue stream, you can do. It's not something that you can do if you're primarily readapting the building as a gym or building housing.
Thank you. Jerry's next. Before you, Jerry, though, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Belmont Triangle, I'm not sure everyone else is here. Before the Civic was built, that land was a thriving African-American community that was, I believe, eminent domain to become city property to build the Civic. I think it's particularly today on Indigenous People Day that we note that there were some atrocities at the time where people were forcibly dislocated from their community here in Santa Monica to make room for that building.
And
Not making any judgments.
Not just the auditorium.
Right.
City Hall.
Oh, I'm just,
Yeah.
right. So so
All right, now.
anyway, if I encourage you to look up Belmont Triangle if you're curious about it. Let's stay focused. Jerry, you're next.
Well, having attended so many wonderful events there. My gosh, cultural performance, music of all kinds, the symphony orchestra, Eagles, all of those, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, Martin Luther King spoke there, Bob Marley's performed there. My goodness, the Dalai Lama is there. Teapot 9. So it's a real educational facility as well as a cultural and art facility. Everybody supports community core. It'd be great to have affordable low-income housing at the airport site, but don't sacrifice what we have now there. There's plenty of place to build affordable housing. We just need policies to get it done faster. And you don't punish the Civic Auditorium for what happened back at Belmont. We use the freeway, we use this. A lot of stuff can benefit students and everyone now. We work on this. That's why I'm so thankful to be and Lori for coming, because I remember when my late wife and I went to the Landmarks Commission to ask them to landmark it. We met with the former chair who passed away, an architect. And she'd be turning in her grave now if she thought this was going to go. And we were on the verge of doing it. Niederlander, that does the Greek theater, was ready to come in. Deborah Cohen and Associates had the design there. They were even ready to bring back the water element. They had it at Academy Awards. And then the redevelopment funding was pulled. Now, I know one thing. I'm not an expert in fundraising. But if we're not unified, then it does play into the hands of the people that have always wanted to get rid of it. So we need to be unified. I appreciate the school district wanting to do something, but I hope they'll support this new effort now, because that will benefit the students immeasurably, and we'll be able to get a win-win solution. This is the city's gem, and we need to support this 100%. I'm so thankful this is happening. This is almost a miracle that this can happen.
Thank you, Jerry. You've had your hand up for a while, followed by Chad, followed by Nina.
The money, you're gonna raise it by bonds. I'm thinking, you know, if the city politically wants to, we could do the same thing. If the city wants to do, we could raise bonds. And we could help you out to have your basketball practices there for your school. That you keep mentioning that. But that's not the only place you can hit. Right now, I assume because you're under construction, I don't know, you know, what's going on over there. You may need basketball courts. Currently, there's basketball courts. I know there's some down at the beach at the by the high towers. And you can bring the kids down there and do their practices. And there's probably other places.
What is your question?
Can I finish?
Yeah, but we all need to start being more concise so that they have more time to speak.
I'm trying to be. What I'm trying to. These people have been talking, and then you want me to be concise?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that we can, the city council, if they want to, they can be on the city could be on the hook to pay off the bonds, so we can raise the bonds too and own it. Basically, that's the fundamental thing, the money. And so you're not the only game in town. The city council could do it, and I hope they do it.
But we already
And-
own it, you know that, right?
And
We already own this.
It's not about.
I know that, but we're talking
Oh,
about,
the money to rehab it?
excuse me, we're talking about rehabbing the
Yes,
place.
yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
So
Okay.
basically, if I may, it's a little like owning a house.
But there's one other thing.
Sorry, we need to move on. You've had your
You've had a
time.
lot of time too.
I understand, and there's a lot of people here to hear them speak.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. You were speaking, B?
I was just gonna say, it's like you own a house and you have to raise the money to fix it up.
If I could only hear you.
So
I'm sorry.
All right.
if I'm not
I'm-
speaking while.
I'm sorry, but you need to be respectful of everybody.
I am, I can't hear you.
She said it's for rehabilitation, not purchase.
Let's move on. Ted, you have a question?
Yeah, just for safety civic, I'd love to see it come back to its former glory. You know, when I was on the council, David mentioned we had a plan with redevelopment money and we're gonna go ahead and do that. The redevelopment money went by the wayside. We then tried all sorts of strategies. At one point, we offered the keys to Niederlander, and they didn't want it. The capital cost back then for the retrofit and bringing things back up to Decker standards was $100 million. Construction costs have gone through the roof. When you build public buildings, you have stricter standards in terms of seismic safety, you have to pay prevailing wages, it's very expensive, that's what I'm saying, so we still haven't heard. We know where Carrie's gonna get the money, we still haven't heard where you guys are gonna get the money, sounds like whoever you have in the background, what we can't talk about for understandable reasons, is just not prepared to come up with that capital. So, again, getting to Mitchell's point, are you talking about going to the voters with a bond? And if you do, I gotta tell you, we pulled a number of years ago, and bonds for parks and cultural venues do not pass in the city.
So if I could ask.
So where does the money come?
Well, I can tell you that one of the interested parties is not planning on asking anyone from the city, the council, the taxpayers. They are planning to pay for the whole thing.
That would be great.
So, I mean, I can speak to that for one party, that's it, right?
Yeah.
So, can't tell you who it is yet, but I
Yeah,
can
I
tell
get
you that there's somebody who can, they basically, there's no attachments, it's pretty clear, so.
And then the other thing, American Meeting, I recall, is that their business model is based on 50,000-seat venues and 10,000-seat venues, and we're not a niche for 3,000-seat venues. Have you had any pushback from people you talked to about that?
Not the Sooners.
Okay, great.
I've heard that from people who aren't interested, but not people who are.
Yeah.
All right, Nina, followed by Jeffrey.
I, believe it or not, have a question for David Martin, who is waiting patiently on the little square on the screen.
Yeah.
Regarding, hello, regarding the Surplus Land Act and HCD, what, do we know what the process is for that, how long it will take? And once that is done, whenever that is, what happens next? Do we then wait for a council hearing for them to say what they want to do next? Or do we already know what they're gonna do next? And how does it all time?
Yeah, so the next step will be for city staff to present the Surplus Land Act process that we went through to HCD. How long that process is going to take, we don't know. It's we think it's months as opposed to weeks, you know, so based on their response time on other issues like housing element stuff we've been dealing with, it takes them a long time to get back to us on things. We expect that to be kind of a back and forth. We'll submit and describe the process, and then they'll want to ask questions. So back and forth. So again, we don't know exactly how long that will take, but I'm sure it's at least 3 months or so, and maybe longer. Once that's done, then we will seek council direction to find out what they want us to do at that point. So assuming we get clearance from HCD and we're through the Surplus Land Act once and for all, then we're free to either issue an RFP, or if there are unsolicited offers that come in. The city would also be able to entertain those. We just have to find out, at that point from council, how they want us to move forward. Did that answer all your questions, or was there something else in there?
Did you say that unsolicited offers that come in during the HCD review can be, no?
No,
you can't-
after, yeah.
After.
Yeah.
Okay. And and council can't even consider officially what they would do next once they get the HCD sign off until after the sign off happens. So
It would be premature just because until we get through that process, we really can't do anything else. So we want to check that box first.
All right,
Thank you, David.
Housing and community development.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah, sorry for the acronyms.
Jeffrey.
As far as I understand the proposal, and I would love to go to some concerts there myself, but I'm somewhat surprised that the group, as far as I understand it, like wants a venue like this there. Just thinking like, it'd be nice that you don't have to go all the way up to the Greek Theater or the Hollywood Bowl or something like that. Like the drive is terrible, but like, once you start having concerts here, it kind of brings like noise, and I hear complaints about loud bikes on the road and like noise complaints and like a nostalgia for seeing the Eagles, but like, as far as I know, I don't think they're performing anymore, and now it's like, I'm sorry, forgive me, but now it's like, could be any concert, it could be like electronic techno music where everyone's doing like Molly and like drugs and alcohol, or like rap concerts, so I'm just thinking about like different groups that are bringing into Ocean Park, and maybe you want that, but I'm just voicing that like, you're not gonna have control about who's performing there. So it could have like a lot of different environments in that area.
Is there, I'm sorry, I think you was just getting this.
Yeah. Robbie, you had your hand up, and then you're next, sorry.
Yeah, I was just curious, so from like a cost and then a revenue standpoint for the city. So I think, was it 20 million that the community corp was gonna pay? Is that what you said?
Yeah, hey, this is Jesus. So, our proposal had a payment coming from Community Corp for $10 million, and then our partner would also provide a similar payment, $10 million to the city. Our proposal would not require any funding from the city. We would actually provide a payment of the land to the city.
Okay, and then is there an ongoing revenue stream or no?
We haven't discussed that in detail because we weren't called back, but we're open to that.
Yeah, and then just from the other proposals, like you're talking about creating one, there's going to be a cost to renovate and do all these things. And you guys would you'd make money on the 100 days that you rent it out? Is that the thought?
I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to hear you. It sounds a little.
All right. That question was for Carrie Upton.
Okay, sorry.
Asking about renting it out.
The question, would the district, be making a profit? For the most part, what we'd be doing would be covering our costs. Because actually to run and operate that facility and to maintain it and keep it going is going to cost something. So the 100 days of rental would help to cover that cost. It's very difficult to think that that venue can generate enough money. If you look at other venues similar to that most of them do well to break even. And it's so hard to believe that they'll also generate enough money to pay for the renovation.
Yeah.
But with the school district, we would be already needing a facility like that. And so the delta that we need to cover is the additional cost of running the Civic as opposed to what it would have been to run what would be our new Blue Gymnasium.
Thank you. Patty, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just was sort of almost offended by what was said about the venue being a place where we would have presentation of music or this or that. We have road, and it doesn't seem to be causing anybody to be flat on the ground when they walk out or anything. I've been there, and I've been there when it has been a wonderful, wonderful place to go. And just because you were going to imagine it with lots of people taking drugs and doing all that other stuff. That to me, I think is something that we shouldn't even consider in this because it depends on what we use it for as a venue. And I think that we have enough sense to know that a 3,000 seat venue is not going to be the Hollywood Bowl or the Greek Theater. It's going to be something entirely different. And I really appreciate what Lori and Bea have been talking about.
Thank you. You agree with that?
Hi, I really like the idea of the cultural center over there. But I'm here in Santa Monica only 25 years. But at the same token, I haven't seen any community center here and not senior center here. And these people, the senior in Santa Monica are a big part of the community and paying big part of the property tax here, but they don't have anything. They're being thrown in all different halls and places. And look at what's happening in Culver City. They have a beautiful place and people going from here to there. So my question is, there is a way to combine or integrate a community center into this culture center.
Unless any of you want to answer, Nina Fresco, by the way, Nina is on the Landmarks Commission.
I know I'm supposed to.
Sorry.
But I was also on the civic working group when we were trying to solve this, so the civic is a topic. Anyway, there is a senior center, it's called Ken Edwards Center. But another thing.
This is only one room, one hall.
Well, they have programming, they have all kinds of.
I know, I've been there, I was part of it, okay?
Right.
So it's only one room, I knew that's the answer going to be, but it's nothing.
Right, well, yeah, okay. I mean, there are a lot of like little pieces of information I could give that I heard that if you want me to, I can.
Let's see if there's more questions first. Carrie, did you have a comment on that? I thought you were.
I mean, one of the plans is, I mean, the East Wing was a community space and a community meeting space. As part of our plan, we'd be returning a community meeting space also. And as the school district, our need to make the most from rentals would not be there. So I do think community events and community activities would happen. And that'd be certainly part of our negotiation with the city.
Thank you.
We have joint use of so much of our facilities with the city.
If he wants to respond, then Ted had his hand up, and just I want to note the time. We've got to wrap up in about 5 minutes. B.
So just quickly, I think there are many different possibilities that all of us individually and collectively could wish for and could imagine for this site. I think the exciting opportunity that presents itself to our community is if this site becomes open to anybody who wants to bid to do something there. Up until now, it's only been housing, education, recreation, and private groups that might partner with the city in some form of a public-private partnership have not been able to come forward. So the exciting moment, I think, in time right now is that once we are out of the SLA process and the state signs off and says you're free, we can't even begin to imagine what opportunities might be presented to us. And I'm hoping that community groups like this one and other neighborhood groups have robust discussions about what might be desirable and possible.
Thank you. Ted, I think you're getting the last question.
I just had a quick question for David Martin, if he's still there. Maybe he's given up on.
I'm here. Hi, Ted.
Hi, David. Why did the council decide to turn down the CCSM Metropolitan Pacific proposal? Just curious.
Yeah, I think it was really, I mean, while Jesus is right, there was $20 million combined offered. I think at that point, the council was actually looking for more money out of the property than that. And so they didn't think it was an offer that met the city's needs.
Okay, so it's about the money.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, and sorry, I missed this until now, so I'm actually gonna get one last question in. Chris Morgan is on Zoom and had a question.
Thanks, Sean. My question is for the Save the Civic folks. You mentioned that you have interested parties or potentially interested parties. Is there any sort of timeline as to when they might be able to come forward and for community members to start to see some plans of what they're proposing?
I think our understanding now is, yes, the timeline really depends on when the state says, Santa Monica, you're free of the SLA process. And David Martin indicated that could be as much as 3 months from now. We don't know, we're not in control of that.
Thank you. Did you have, we got, I tried to reserve sort of about a minute for everybody to wrap up. Anything you wanted to say? I'll start with Save the Civic.
Only that we think that publicly owned performing arts and art spaces are rare and wonderful treasures. We have one, and we shouldn't throw it away or convert it to a gem. We are not opposed to kids. We are not opposed to athletics. We just think that the school district has a different mission, and that mission is education. And the Civic has yet a different mission. And I would like to address the person who said, I'm 30 years old, you know, these are memories that we don't share. That's true. And I will tell you that people like me wish that people like you could be active, would be active in sort of a youth resurgence. Because when the Civic was alive and well, it was a youth resurgence. So we need you.
Thank you both. Jesus, did you have anything you wanted to share before we wrap up?
No, thanks for everyone's time. I just want to clarify a few things. There seems to be maybe a little bit of misinformation about our proposal. Our proposal is to provide 165 units of affordable housing. The Civic Center will remain as a concert hall. We're not going to touch that. We would privately fund all the improvements for the affordable housing that is in the neighborhood of about $120 million that we go through tax credits, some public sources, a private loan, and then the Civic Center will be financed privately, and that partner has assured us that they could make the improvements and operate it and still make it a feasible operations for them. So I think we trust that is true and accurate. So just want to reiterate our position, and we will be providing the city a total payment of $20 million, 10 from Community Corp as we fundraise for the affordable housing, and $10 million from the Civic Center and the concert hall.
Thank you. Carrie, did you have anything else?
Chair, finally say the district is excited to hear about other plans and those things. We do have a plan for the campus, and if this doesn't happen, then we have a path that we can go forward with, and hopefully it'll continue to support creating better educational facilities for our students. If it does find that these don't happen, then we do have we still have an interest. Though the longer, I mean, after another 6 months, 9 months, if we don't sort of hit it at that point, it'll kick it to 2 years. Then it'll kick it to 2 years. And I know everybody wants to get it open. I would say good luck making the Olympics, because I think it's going to take 2.5 to 3 years to get through the design and entitlement phases before you're able to begin any construction. And it's going to take minimum of 2 years of construction. So I think we're 5 years out at best, and that's where our timeline is actually 6 years because of funding. Anyway, thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. David, did you have anything you wanted to add before we wrap up?
Nothing really to add, Sean. Thank you, other than just to say thanks for having me. I will say that I know this is really an important issue for the community. So I also know it's a very confusing process. So please don't, any of you hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions or things that you want to understand further, because again, I know it's important to a lot of people.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm gonna do.
Yep, I was
2 minutes, okay.
Yep, so so thank you everyone for participating in this part of the discussion. We're gonna transition into board business. I know some people have to go. Some people may have to go to the bathroom, which by the way is just right. Before we go into regular board business, while we have Carrie agree to give us a couple minute update on all things Smash and Muir. Ted.
Can we give a round of applause?
Yeah, thank you everybody. If you do have to go, please do so quietly. Carrie, the floor is yours.
Okay.
David, please sit down. David, B, everyone else, please sit down. It's not time to chat.
Okay, I'll do this very, very quickly, just so everybody can see.
If you're leaving, leave quietly, please.
Okay. With the Muir Smash campus, we're very excited that you might have started to see some activity on the campus. We're able to start some of the preparation and demo for the rebuilding and re-waterproofing and reconstruction of that campus. We have our 4 lines, one for each of the building, in the Division of State Architects. We expect to get those back in the next month and a half to 2 months. So by December, we should be able to start construction in full. And we are having conversations about what will be going back there. There will be a neighborhood school that will return there August of 2025. And those conversations, we had conversations today with the superintendent. So those will be coming out in the next couple of months. You start hearing what that plan is, so we can get everything back open and have everything ready for August of 25.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for making the time tonight.
Oh, good.
I also want to use this as an excuse just to make a shameless plug to join OPA if you're not already a member. All of this, takes money and time and effort, and hope you are, can give back to the community through joining or through making a donation. Or more importantly, we're looking for people to get more involved. And sort of first item of business is talking about next year as we're heading into the 4th quarter now. Time flies, and we're looking at our 2024 board nomination process and seeing who's going to be on the board next year, because you can help shape our agenda and our priorities and our initiatives. Patty, do you want to talk a little bit about the process of running for the board, nominating, all things board?
Okay. Just gotta take the book hack off now. So, if you want to become a board member, we really would like the fact that you were a member of OPA to begin with. That's a requirement. It would be nice if you knew what goes on in our meetings by, participating in them. And it would be very important that you actually live in Ocean Park. Now, if these 3 things are something that you feel comfortable with, then over here we have Christina, who would need a bio from you, sort of saying why you would like to be on the board, and a picture sometimes is good, so we know who you are. And then by the next meeting, you will have a list of people who would like to run. Now, I think this is going to be up to November 5th that you can participate in this. I think that's the date. And we're open to anyone over 18 who wants to be a board member. I have a question.
Yes.
How many board members are there, and also when does the new term take effect?
It takes effect at the first meeting in January. We vote in December. We can go up to, I think, 15 board members. Right now, I think we have 10. 11. 11. Maybe 11.
I think we have 11 and 1 spot.
Yeah.
And I know Sean is present, though, there are different levels of involvement.
Yep, so there's the executive board, which is treasurer, who's currently Patty, secretary for Christina, myself, who's currently president, and then two VPs, Robbie, who you can't see around the wall here, and Chris, who's here virtually today. And then general board members. And we just ask that all board members get involved in some way, shape, or form in a committee or task force, whether it's Main Street, whether it's homeless renter task forces, etc. And commit to showing up to meetings and just being a positive force for the community. Thank you. Anything else from executive committee to talk about? I don't. Elections and the logo that we talked about, updating the logo that we talked about last time. There's been no movement on that, so we'll push that forward another month. Been preoccupied with civic and other matters. I think that's it for exec. Communications, I don't think we have anything critical to report there. All things going smoothly with the newsletter and other forms of communication. The newsletter is over 2,000 people now, still at 60+% open rate. We're still trying to get a physical mailer out to the community, and I've been struggling to get it done. That's unfortunately in my camp, and I've been just busy. I promise to focus on that over the next couple weeks. If anybody has any experience with doing mailers to thousands of people, please reach out to me. I give you some help. We can talk more about it. Now, member counts and that kind of that update. Should I throw it on the screen, or do you have
On the member count, I just have on a piece of paper here. It's just on the screen and just leave it on. Regular report. Okay, membership over the past 3 months. Okay, at the moment, we have 294 active members. And in addition to those active memberships, there are 60 people additional who are parts of households. Because if you know a household, you can have up to 3 people on a membership. The majority of our members are seniors. Over a third of them are seniors. We are getting a few business members, which is very nice. But we did do pretty well with members this past year, this past quarter. In August, we received, we got 11 members. In September, I'm sorry, in July we had 11 members. In August, we had 12, and in September we got 5. So that's the most numbers we've had in quite a while. Unfortunately, and if you're here and you haven't paid to be a member, but you signed up, fortunately, if you don't pay after like 6 weeks, I suspend you, and then I let you know. So you have to give me the $10 or the $20 because it's not free. So we're hoping that we do continue building our membership, and because we have over 2,000 people who are taking our newsletter, with about 340 people who are actually members. So, yes.
Does OPA still take money from the city?
We do get a grant.
Okay.
Which
Communications like the way it was before, like it pays for the newsletter and the.
Well, yes, they give us a certain amount of money now, and we have to, of course, be able to tell them what we used it for. Right, but they have raised it to 7,000 because they don't give it to us twice a year, and they don't send the newsletters for us. We have to do it ourselves.
And later in the meeting, we'll go over the current financial.
Yeah. Any questions?
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I signed up online a couple of weeks ago. In fact, when I first met Sean at the street fair about 2 months ago, I don't know if it actually.
You would have gotten an email.
Oh, I didn't.
You didn't. What is your name?
Lucy Stone.
After the meeting, you two should have.
Okay.
Thank you, Lucy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen.
Meetings.
Shifting into events, Robbie, do you want to come up and talk about the last Open Main Street event of the year?
Yes, I have my Robbie and Christina is handing me. We have a need for volunteers to staff the OPA booth at the upcoming Open Main Street. It's the 21st and 22nd. So we'll just send this around as I'm giving the update. And if you're interested, we would love to have you. It's a great opportunity to meet a lot of different folks that live in the neighborhood, tell them a little bit about what we do, and hopefully get some more people involved. This is a great turnout for the meeting, and we hope you come to next month's. But the October Open Main Street Festival is pretty focused on Halloween. There's going to be, some of you guys might remember, there was a pet Halloween costume last year that's returning. There's a people Halloween costume that's going to happen in the beer garden this year, and a lot of great activations. The pickleball folks will be back. There's a movie Saturday evening. There will be a little bit of a vote that's going on to figure out what that movie is. So keep your eyes posted on Instagram to make that decision and help influence that. Anything I'm missing that we should make sure to cover? Sean also is involved in making sure that these Open Main Streets happen successfully, along with our Main Street Business Association partners.
I think you covered it all. Please, even if you could only volunteer for an hour or two, please sign up. We need people to be at the tent to talk to people walking by about all things OPA. Even if you don't know anything about OPA, you'll get a 30-second crash course. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to meet a lot of folks and learn about the organization. So,
and if you can volunteer, please make sure everyone you know knows about the events on the street, October 21 to 22.
Yeah,
thanks.
See you there.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Robbie, for all the work to make it happen. And then our last event of the year is going to be our holiday party in December. This is open for discussion, but we're looking at December 2nd at the moment, which is both elections and holiday party, but it can be discussed. But that's when Main Street is planning on doing their.
Main Street is doing it on the 9th. Because the Conservancy asked them about it and they said that was going to be on the 9th.
I don't have that answer. Last I heard, it was they were debating the 2nd or the 9th.
Okay.
I don't know if any Judy, you haven't heard anything yet, right?
No, but isn't there a phone call tomorrow?
Yes,
So I won't be on it because I have water meetings, but.
I should be. Historically, we've tried to coincide it with the Main Street tree lighting. I think we just need to discuss, do we want to do that, whether it's on the 2nd or the 9th, I don't know.
Well, Penny told them it was the 9th. So I'm just.
Well, anyone else have any strong opinions on a specific date versus saying whatever date they're doing, we should try and make it coincide?
The Conservancy is having theirs at the Church in Ocean Park on the 2nd. On the 2nd from 3 to 5. Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that, or we can follow up offline to figure out the date? All right, well, Christina?
There's I'm gone on the 9th. I'm in another state.
As am I.
Who like help raise me is turning 90, so I'm
Okay.
going to that.
And this is a note to everybody, not all board members need to be at absolutely everything we do. We understand we have lives that take us other places.
I was in Chile last year. Like the
Oh,
secretary, election person, so.
Cool, so we'll follow up and figure out what date Main Street is planning and go from there. We do need someone to volunteer to help with planning. The key thing is locking down a venue. Historically, it's been Victorian. Historically, Zach has helped with that. But he's not available to help, I don't believe. Do I have any volunteers to help try and lock down a venue for us?
What is the volunteering for?
To get a venue for the holiday party.
When you say venue, you mean like a store or restaurant?
A location, yeah. The last few years it's been at the Venetian.
You mean the huh?
The Victorian.
Right, it's been at the Victoria in the last few years.
The candidate.
My cards, I love my cards.
All right, don't all jump out at once. I will nag board members offline to get someone to run with this one, because if we don't lock down the venue.
I can make a couple calls, like I'm not opposed to that.
Okay, and I might be able to lean on Zach to. About. Good. Those of you that are outside, please, we can hear you. Shifting into Main Street, other than the upcoming festival on the 21st and 22nd, Robbie, Judy, anybody else have any Main Street updates? I don't think so. Arts, Chris, I don't know if you're still on the line. Anything to update on all things arts?
Hey, Sean, I'm still here. Really no updates. Me and Nick are still working on the scavenger hunt thing. I do believe our monthly meetup this Thursday isn't going to happen, so but we'll send a note out so that we could update the newsletter and let everyone know when we're meeting next, in case any new members want to join the task force.
Perfect. And shifting to diversity, Ian, I think you have Ian and Judy and Aaron maybe have a few things to talk about.
Okay, I'll talk about the LGBTQ group that we're forming, and Aaron is part of it, and Lucy, are you still?
Yes,
there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Lucy and Will behind you.
And Will. And we had, I think we had 9 people in person, the first meeting, and then we had a phone call yesterday, and we're gonna have another meeting next Sunday, this coming Sunday, that's hybrid, where we're talking about what it would be to have such a group. And what I think we're coming to the name being network, and that it would be a project of OPA. And then what, everybody has different ideas about what kinds of activities we might want to do, but we definitely want to do activities. And we will have our first sort of social event on the 25th, I think it is.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yeah, at Lula's in the back patio. We've already arranged for that to happen, and we will be inviting people the weekend of the closed street, and then inviting everybody that we have contact with.
Perfect.
So, yeah, go ahead.
We're also making flyers that we're gonna have printed by Open Main Street to hand out.
Great.
Right.
And
I can email you to put something in the newsletter.
Awesome. Great. Glad to see this is ready to roll.
While I'm standing up, do you want me to report about the library?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, thank you for asking. Okay, so some of us have been concerned about the Ocean Park Library and what's going to happen there, which is right now pretty much nothing unless you have a library card and you can sign up to go in. But there's no librarian there, and it's just one day a week, I believe, that you can go in and check out books yourself. 2 days. So, I've been talking with several people at the library, and I know, and David White to some extent, about what could happen to that building even before the library reopens as a library. Because that's a money thing that none of us can solve that problem. So, but there's the downstairs part that has been a community use for always. And we found out that when it was built, when it was planned, in I believe it was 1917, is that right?
Oh, when it was first built was 1917.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at Bob because he's very fond of right there.
Yeah, okay. But not 1917, I don't believe any of us were there. But however, there was a newspaper article that talked about the new library would be a library and a community center. So that seems like what we ought to have now. And so what is it in the community that we could have that wouldn't cost the city a bunch of money because they don't have the money to have a library, but what could happen in the lower part? So that is the question. We're talking about it. And I'm talking with library staff. I've talked with David just a little bit. I want to talk with him some more, but I have a short list of people who want to be involved in a library committee. So if you want to be a part of that and you're not on my short list from last month, talk to me.
Thank you.
We used to have our OP meetings.
Yes, we do.
Correct.
We hope that you do it again.
I'm hoping to go back to it.
Yeah. And it's going to get cold.
Yeah.
They say.
Rumor has it. Anything to share regarding Santa Monica Black Lives Matter
Yeah, I
chapter?
was gonna say, well, the Santa Monica Black Lives Association, which recently moved into new office space near the old post office. I actually been given a tour of the space. So they are having two events. Unfortunately, my phone, no battery. They're having two events. One is called the Unity Gala, that's going to be in November. And the other one is on October 12th, it's called the V event. And I'm hoping, Sean, that will mention both of them in the newsletter that people will learn about, maybe not from the October 12th.
Yep, and I'm trying to pull up the exact information as well, but I don't have it handy. But yeah, there's a which is Women Empowerment event is coming up, I think, next week.
Yeah,
and then their big gala.
I think November 10th.
Yep, both will be in the newsletter, so and feel free to go to I think it's blm.org for more.
BLA.
Sorry, BLA. Yeah. Thank you. Anything else on all things diversity? Education, Christina.
Well, I actually did speak to our superintendent last week about possibly giving our neighborhood access to Los Amigos Park, because our good neighbor David Ock had gone to Mr. Upton with that proposal and was shot down immediately. But Dr. Shelton said that it was the first he was hearing about it, and so he was going to talk to Carrie. So hopefully, you know, with the school site being closed down for so long and our memorandum, our joint use agreement with the city says that we can use the park when school's not in session, and school's not in session. So it would be nice to be able to use those things before 3 p.m. It would be a nice little carrot for our community. And so hopefully that will happen. That's at least something positive. Other things were not so positive, but I'm not allowed to share them, so that is it.
Okay. I think Robbie stepped. Anything to share on renters or homeless right now?
Just that we had a follow-up with the LCI, Living Community Initiative. Woman, Lindsay, she was very engaging. She went deeper on what things could look like on Main Street in terms of her vision. So those are the types of things that we're talking about at those meetings. They're the third Monday of every month. More than welcome to join. Excuse me. They're at Stella Lara from 6 to 7:30. So more of an ad for that. That's all I got.
Sounds good. I think that covers all of the task forces. Speak up if I'm missing something. Going to special agenda items, I still don't have an update on storage space, still looking for a bigger space. If anyone knows of something, please let me know. And the only other item on my special agenda item is, I think Judy Abdo is turning 21 soon. Give or take.
Yeah.
I believe Judy has a big birthday between now and our next meeting. Happy early birthday.
Thank
I assume it's
you.
okay to share the number since most
You
of
can share the number.
But she's turning 80. Aaron.
What day? 23rd, which is Libra. No matter what you read in your, I'm a Libra.
I know, I'm the 27th, but I'm the Scorpio.
Yeah.
And then let's shift to the treasurer's report. Let me see if I can put them online without breaking everything. Did not work. All right.
Okay, well, that's spell work. So we're taking a look at a quarter. This is the third quarter, and we're not going to look at June because June we've already discussed. July was a very quiet month. We only had two debits. We had the post office. I had to buy stamps. Okay, and alfalfa for the refreshments for the monthly meeting. And otherwise, we didn't take in any money in July except for the interest. Because I was out of town and I put it in the bank on the 2nd of August. So now the 2nd of August has a goodly amount of money in it. No.
Oh, sorry, going August. Just kidding.
Go up a little. Go up a little. See where's this August 2nd? Go up. Up.
That's what I was doing.
There, okay. Okay, August 2nd, we got the July money, which was $965 that came in through PayPal. And we usually get most of our money in June and July, because that's when we used to have the letters go out. And also the parade puts a lot of people in this very generous mood. We had a debit though, a nice debit of $1,064.99, which were the items that we're using as swag on open streets. And they seem to be a lot better than some of the others we've had in the past. We had checks for $150 that was deposited. Amazon, we were buying candy, I love it. And Survey Monkey, oh, it's just Big Monkey with a Y. The yearly fee for Survey Monkey is $300. We bought an ebook, which is going to be covered by the county grant that we had. We had another alfalfa debit for our monthly meeting. We bought more stuff for open streets, more candy, and then we had another $521 plus. But this month was busy. We had $1,639 taken in, 24, 21, 18 taken out. So yeah, it's sort of balanced. September now. September.
Sorry, can I just ask a question about all this?
Yes.
So you got on the right hand side, you got, admittedly it's a small amount, but purchases unknown.
Yeah, right there because
Where was that?
where was that?
Just below the.
Oh, that's September. I haven't started.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Because there are two purchases and I don't have the paperwork for them. And it's $29.57.
If it's Amazon, odds are it's me and I'll forward you the paperwork.
Okay, yeah. So those were just two little things. It's probably like chalk and something.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's probably candy.
but I have to put on a note because I don't have the paper.
Yeah, no, I.
And then I'd be digging everywhere looking for it and I'd be going nuts.
Which I don't think are dry erase markers.
Probably.
There we go.
Anyway.
An economist on the board, right?
Okay, so, and then we have another debit for a duffel bag, and then, now the online transfer isn't really going to go into much of this. We have a lot of money we keep in our savings account, and you can see there's, if you go up in August, you see the savings account in blue has $14,228.23. Because I don't like putting it all into the checking account. It makes people think they can spend it a whole lot faster.
And in the checking account, we're not gonna make that $1.82.
I know that. So, but anyway, I moved $4,000 because I know we just paid for our website. Wild Apricot is not a cheap website, and I didn't want us to have anything bounce. We also got the Make Music LA grant finally. And we didn't realize that we could get it until like 2 days before, and Dave and other helped put together Make Music LA. And so I got the grant and a check from someone for some money, and I put it in there. Now, you'll see it says reimbursement of $600. That was my money that I paid them, and I reimbursed me. And that's for a lot of the incidentals, and we had, how many bands? 4 or 5. Yeah, we had a lot of people work on it. It was really a nice day. I'm sorry a lot of you didn't go. So we got okay, the annual fee for our PO box has gone up a little. It's now $230. We had refreshment. Okay, that one I did, the $600 reimbursement. Then we have alfalfa again. We have Bluehost that does our website fees. It has a small fee for, I never understand these. It has a small fee of $20, and then it has a larger fee of about $200, and they're in Canada, and you can't get a hold of them. And then there's a debit from some Amazon things, a chalkboard, a projector, a charger, cable, and a table. And we got another $636 of PayPal. So if you take the $4,000 and you don't play with it, we actually had a pretty even exchange for that month. So at the end of September, we ended up with a total of $18,950, $60.42. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
And has a question.
Yes.
I have 2 questions related to money. My first is, if we need something like money to print flyers, we email you.
Well, if you need money, there's 2 things you can do. You can print flyers if we can cover them. And then I can reimburse you, or I can pay for it.
Okay.
Or Roshan can pay for it. We both have debit cards.
Okay, cool.
But we need to know what we were paying.
Okay. And then with a like an official task force, do you know if we can apply for grants? Like, do we apply as
always apply for a grant?
And Judy and I were talking earlier about the city diversity grant. That seems like a perfect thing to apply for if you want to like fund food at Lulu's.
I usually apply with the city for the neighborhood grant. And that's done on an annual basis. And I know Lori had asked me about it. And now they're giving us $7,000 a year to cover things and hopefully to put out flyers. We also had a $5,000 county grant, which was to purchase items that we needed, purchase things that we need to make our whole process go. And that I have to have done by December. And we're getting closer and closer to hitting $5,000. That's why you see that's a big deal there.
Well, our new network group might go for that $500 diversity.
And that's fine.
City has, and might go for a separate grant from the county that wouldn't be part of.
Okay, and that's fine. And the only thing I think we would need to do is ensure that it goes into the account.
Yes.
The OPA account.
Yes.
And if you wanna do it, that's fine, you can I'm not particularly fond of doing them, but I'll do them.
Teach them how to fish.
Teach them how to fish.
Unless there's any other, do
Anything
you have a second question? All right, is there a motion to approve? I heard.
Second to.
Yep. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Great. Christina had sent out the minutes a few weeks ago. Any
Like
questions?
immediately after.
Yep. Any questions or comments on the September minutes?
Move adoption.
Will moves to adopt, Robbie second, all in favor, any opposition? Great, minutes are approved. Unless there's any outstanding items, we sort of have a couple minutes for open floor. Yes,
We still have food.
please eat more.
Like in comments, well, we just had a presentation and maybe we will rush, I didn't have enough time. That you might want to have for important, I guess they're all important issues. But if we're not having enough time to ask questions and being rushed, you might want to have I doubt we're gonna do it, but maybe it's like twice a month. So that we can cover the issues. Better, people.
No, thank you for the feedback. I do wish we had more time and.
Well, I said.
And for something, and for something like this, maybe aspiring to have a dedicated meeting around it's a good idea.
And you might wanna invite council members here.
We invite council members all the time. We've had multiple council members attend this year.
What?
We've had multiple council members attend meetings this year, and they've all been, I personally invite them at least quarterly.
And we have a mayor every Wednesday, basically on Open Connects to our other, he's always on.
I'm sorry, I don't hear you.
We have a mayor every Wednesday at noon on OPA Connects on Zoom, so she's on.
On OpenNet?
OPA Connects, OPA Connect.
Our Wednesday at noon meeting.
Yeah, you can get on.
That's a good forum to
So
meet
we're
the
doing,
mayor.
yeah. I just want to open comment, just thank you, Sean, and everybody who came here tonight. It's a different format, you tried something different, it was great. And everybody helped out here today, it was just really good, so this is
thank you.
What we do. Thank you.
Dave, you had your hand up a second?
Somebody mentioned we should have a sign up sheet out on the table. If you wanna
newsletter join.
There was a digital one that went.
Yeah, some people didn't say that.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, some people couldn't do it, it's like paper.
If talk to me before you leave if you're not getting the newsletter. I'll fix that.
And actually,
I presume most people that are here got it.
I had a paper sign in sheet
Yeah.
underneath it,
Thank you.
if somebody needs to do it that way.
Aaron.
If our event is on the 25th.
Yep.
Do you think that what newsletter should that go in?
Email me on the side for that, just the sooner better.
Cool.
So the day before any of the newsletters. And I'm happy to put it in the previous two.
Right.
I also want to say thank you to Nina for joining tonight, and thank you outside to Lucy, who I think is joining right now.
As we speak, joining in progress.
Thank you. And unless anybody else has any other comments, questions, concerns?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second, all in favor?
Here.
Thank you, everyone. If you can, please help me move chairs back. Those of you that are,
Where,
I will direct traffic.
Never mind, let's all that.
yeah.